Wendy, tell me this. Was this a good move for Giannis?
It's questionable. This is a gift that he's given to the Bucks organization. You know, Molly, they have a beautiful plaza outside their arena. They call it the Deer District. I move they need to rename that Giannis Antetokounmpo Plaza because he didn't have to do this.
How about Greek Freak Plaza? Why I got to be all that? Antetokounmpo Plaza. You know what I mean?
That's too long. That's too long.
That's too long.
Giannis Square.
How about that?
He didn't have to do this, okay? He came out, went on the record when they made the Lillard trade and said, I'm going to sign in a year. Nobody was upset. Nobody was worried in Milwaukee. And also, like, yeah, I think this is going to work in Milwaukee. I like where they're headed. I think they got a great chance to win this year, but they got an unproven coach. Chris Middleton's coming off an injury. They just had a disappointing season last year. He does this deal now. Yes, it gives him some financial protection, but he could have signed the same deal at the end of the season. And so now he gets in a position where if they have a down year, I don't expect that to happen, but I thought they were going to maybe win it all last year. Now he's locked in for 4 more years, and he's in the same boat that Dame was last year. If Dame, wanted to move out, he had 4 years on his contract, and they lost a little bit of leverage. So Giannis gave up a marginal amount of leverage to lock in some financial security and set up his contract for the rest of his career. Absolutely not something that needed to happen for the Bucks. So a huge win for them, locking him down, and a vote of confidence for this team going into this regular season.
You know, when they told me they were going to ask me this question this morning, I have to confess to you that I said for the first time, I said, I think that Brian Windhorst needs to be drug tested. That was my initial reaction. And the reason why I came to that conclusion, Wendy, is because all I could see was 3 years, $186 million.
Yeah.
You divide that by 3, right, and it comes up to $62 million a year. What the hell you mean it's questionable? Questionable decision about $62 million a year.
Were you worried he wasn't going to get paid for the next 3 years?
No, it wasn't that, but you never know. Injuries. You know, like anything can happen. Life is life. Tomorrow ain't guaranteed, baby. You got to take that. I'm not saying that you pull a Carmelo Anthony, who in 2007 had an opportunity to have an out after 3 years and took the 5 years instead, when he's the one that should have been in Miami with D. Wade and LeBron
also
instead
didn't
of
get
Bond.
the max.
That's right. And he didn't get the max. Exactly. He should have made sure he had an out after those 3 years and bet on himself the way LeBron and D. Wade did. But in the same breath, you don't sit up there and pass up $62 million, particularly in this day and age where if you are a star, you have shown the ability to be able to force your way out, unfortunately. It's something that we lament, but nevertheless.
Well, you got 1 year on your contract if you want to do that. Just look what happened with Lillard. Lillard had 4 years on his contract, and he lost leverage.
He wanted to go to Miami, and he didn't, and I get it. But he still got out of Portland, and all I'm saying to you is that if you're Giannis, you get that money. You get that $62 million a year, you take that money. And not to mention the fact that he don't have a problem staying in Milwaukee under normal circumstances. Basically, he was just basically saying to them, listen, don't sit idly by. Don't get complacent. Don't think that, this window is closed and you just want to keep me here while we don't build.
233 or 186? What's more?
Excuse me? Well, 233 over 4 years. What I'm saying, but all I'm saying to you is $62 million a year is $62 million a year.
I'm just saying he could have had more flexibility, more leverage, more money if he waited.
Guys,
he didn't wait. It was a gift.
Stephen A.
It's a gift.
He doesn't want flexibility. Giannis doesn't want to go anywhere. Giannis doesn't want the pressure that comes along with going to a new organization and bringing a championship.
I wouldn't say the pressure, though, Shannon. I don't think it's the pressure that bothers him. I just really don't think he's enamored at the thought of just going to the big city instead of staying in Milwaukee. But I don't think the pressure phases him.
Think about the guys in his generation that have left, that we compare him to. KD, when he left, what did he do? Brought championships. LeBron, he went to Miami, got a championship. Comes back to Cleveland, got a championship. Goes to the Lakers, got a championship.
Pause. First of all, I like the Blazers a little challenging, but the tie with the stuff you got, I do like that. That's number one. Okay. That's a distraction. Number two, do not mention those names in the same breath. KD didn't have a title when he went to Golden State.
but
LeBron didn't have a title when he went to Miami. Giannis already got a title.
But the expectation becomes greater because when you are that level of talent, you are expected to bring a title to wherever the destination you land. You are expected to do that. And he said he wanted Milwaukee to show him a commitment to winning long term. Well, hell, you go out and get Dame Lillard. Is that not a commitment to winning long term? What more do you need? And I agree with you, Stephen A. How do I turn down? Yeah, I could get 4 for 223 next year. But I'm going to go ahead and take that 3 for 186 this year. I'm going to take that now. I'm not going to worry about down the road. I got this now because guess what? In 2 years, 3 years, he'll be right back at the table doing another extension if he stays healthy. So I have no problem with this, but I believe that Giannis does not want these pressures that comes along with leaving Milwaukee. Because if you leave an organization at that level of talent, you are expected, you are required, you are damn near demanded to bring a title to your new city.
Well, Giannis wants it all. He wants to have a great team around him and all the money. Now, he's been very clear about that. So he's essentially saying he thinks that he's getting it all with this deal. But I'll just say, like, you can't say everything's going to be good and you can extend in 2 years and also in the same breath say you got to get the money now. So, I'm never going to look at Giannis and say, hey, I don't like you locking in for 160, 180. That's fine. This was a surprising move. I don't know about you, Stephen A. I had no conversations with anybody in the league in the last week. There was a deadline for Giannis to sign this deal. It was midnight last night. I talked about Zeke Naji before I talked about Giannis, because nobody expected he would do this. When Giannis and his agent came to the Bucks over the weekend and said they might do this, the Bucks were hurrying up to get that paper in front of him. They didn't want him to have a second thought. They weren't expecting this. So look, I don't know if it's going to work out in long term. I'm just saying he did something he didn't have to do because he has respect for the Bucks organization. We don't see that in 2023 very well.
Well, listen, the Bucks have earned the respect. A lot of times, their relationship with the organization isn't as good as his relationship with the Bucks appears to be.
Clearly.
And so that's what it is. And I think that to me, the Bucks earned his faith as far as I'm concerned because they do what he suggests needs to be done, and then they go from there.
The Cavs earned LeBron's, but LeBron said the situation's better.
Yeah, but you know that better than most. You know there were other elements.
Yeah,
when
they couldn't.
There was always other elements.
It was always other, especially in Cleveland.
There's always other elements.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me
facility near his home and all that stuff. They did everything but give him a pedicure personally.
And he
It's
said,
ridiculous.
LA sounds nice.
Let me ask you a question. Before he went to Miami, if they could have got him a Dame Lillard, do you believe he would have still left Cleveland and gone to Miami if he could have got a player the equivalent of Dame Lillard?
Yes, but he wouldn't have signed the extension a year before he had to.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
fair.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
No. He knows. That's a fair answer.
So why do you think he did it?
He did this before, Molly.
Yeah.
He signed. This happened a couple years ago. He could have waited.
Yeah.
He signed the extension a year to take the pressure off Milwaukee. They won a title that year. Worked out for him.
Yep.
So I do think in his
Good
heart
juju
of
on
hearts,
his side?
I do think in his heart of hearts he wants to be a Buck.
Yes.
But again, this is a ruthless situation. Go talk to Dame Lillard. 1 year ago, he was smiling, saying, "I'm going to be a Blazer for life."
Right.
Yeah, I hear you. You've been doing this a long time.
I'm a little jaded. I'm
You're
sorry.
saying
Molly,
expect the unexpected.
Molly,
Yes, sir.
Molly, let me ask Stephen a question. Stephen A., let me ask you this. Do you believe it's easier or harder to win a championship with the team that draft you or leave and go win a championship somewhere else?
I think it's harder to win a championship with the team that drafted you because so many components come into the equation. If you depart to go to a championship contender, your belief is the pieces are already in place. I'm just a missing ingredient. But when you're drafted, you're pretty much at the mercy of the organization. Outside of your own individual excellence, you're at the mercy of that organization. It truly, truly is always a team effort, but more so with the team that drafted you as opposed to you choosing to go to a championship contender because some of the pieces
situations are all different. In this particular case, the Bucks have been contenders for like 6 consecutive years.
And they got guys on the squad who won a championship with them.
That's true, but they're all in their 30s.
Right.
Giannis is 29.
Right.
So he's committing to a bit of an unknown future. Now, I know he's got Lillard. I don't know what Dame Lillard's going to look like in 3 years.
Right.
I mean, I feel like he's still going to be a great player, but he's going in a little bit of the unknown here. without having seen how this season.
Well,
You
see,
really
to me,
think it's murky waters based on
I
age?
don't believe it's murky
Yeah,
waters.
I do.
Not when you average 31 and 11. Not when you guys have been registering the best record in the regular season over the last 3 years. Not when you just acquired Damian Lillard. And in the sport of basketball, you know this just as well as me, Wendy. The bottom line is this, Shannon. Give me 2 stars.
Yes.
And
Super.
nice quality supplementary players around it. The hardest part is to find the 2 stars. When you got the 2 stars and everybody and their grandmama knows these are the cornerstones of the franchise, we're going to them. The rest of us just have to do our job.
Right.
Then I think it's a little bit easier.
Yeah,
All of that
Chris-
is going to be true next summer when he could have waited and seen.
All right,
Okay.
last
Chris
word here,
Middleton
Shannon.
is the third option who's a many-time All-Star. There are not very many guys not very many teams that have a third option that's a many-time All-Star.
Coming off a knee injury that we're not sure about.
That is true about that, but I believe in
Again,
Bobby
Marquis.
Portis. I believe in Bobby Portis. And Brook Lopez is what he is.
All right, we'll
He
leave
might
it
need-
there.
Guys in their 30s.
Yeah, I got Boston winning the East, by the way.
Well, even if he didn't sign the contract to win, if you got all these questions, what difference does it make? You don't think they're
Ask
going to win
Dame
the championship
Lillard.
with or
Because it makes a
without?
difference whether you got 4 years or 1 year. Because it makes a difference. That's why.
Okay, to be continued.
62
Giannis
man
is
up.
one of 3 players
62
ever to
man
win
up.
MVP, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. The other 2, MJ and Hakeem.